Okay, what if I told you that pretty much everything you've been taught about studying is wrong? That the best students, well, they aren't the ones who study the most. A lot of the time, they're the ones who study the least. Today, we're going to expose what I'm calling the great study lie and show you a much, much better way. When you picture a straight A student, what do you see? Probably someone hunched over a desk, drowning in a sea of books, pulling an all-nighter. It's the image we all have in our heads. More hours must equal better grades. But what if that's not really how it works? Because that's the lie. The real truth is the top students don't just outwork everyone, they outthink them. They study less because they figured out the secret to how our brains actually learn. It's not about brute force at all, it's all about strategy. So, to really get their winning strategy, we first have to look at the losing one. The one that, let's be honest, most of us are stuck in. It's this super frustrating cycle of what I call busy work, where you feel productive, but you're getting absolutely nowhere. Does this whole thing look familiar? You read, you highlight, you reread, and then, poof, the information just vanishes. You're left with that last-minute exam panic and that terrible feeling of, I swear I just read this. The most dangerous part of this cycle is that it feels like you're working hard, but you're really just spinning your wheels. And right here, this is the crucial shift in thinking. Your brain isn't some hard drive you can just dump information into. You can't just save something by staring at it longer. Your brain rewards the effort of pulling information out. That action, that struggle to remember, that's what makes memories stick. And this brings us right to the core difference between the average student and the top student. It all comes down to the power of what's called active retrieval. This is the fundamental divide right here. Most students are just focused on passively putting information in, reading, highlighting, listening to a lecture. But top students, they flip the script. They are obsessed with actively pulling information out. And this is exactly why just rereading your notes is so dangerous. See, when you look at the same words over and over, your brain gets kind of lazy. It starts to recognize them and whispers to you, oh yeah, I got this, I know this stuff. But that's not real knowledge, it's just familiarity. And that false confidence completely shatters the second you're looking at a blank exam paper. So, okay, if the old way is broken, what's the new way? Let's break down the exact system that lets top students study 3 times less while actually learning 3 times more. And it's all built on 4 incredibly powerful pillars. All right, here they are. First, you've got to test yourself immediately. Second, study in short, intense bursts. Third, focus only on what matters, using the 80-20 rule. And finally, and this is a big one, you have to make mistakes early and often. Let's break each one of these down. Pillar 1 is all about active recall. So instead of reading a chapter 5 times, just read it once. That's it. Then close the book and force yourself to write down or just say out loud everything you can remember. It's going to be a struggle, for sure. But that struggle, that's the workout. That's exactly what builds strong, lasting memories. Pillar 2 is about working with your brain, not against it. Think about your focus like it's a muscle. It gets tired, right? After about 25 to 40 minutes of intense concentration, your brain's ability to really absorb new stuff just drops off a cliff. Top students know this, so they trade in those 4-hour marathon slogs for a couple of short, powerful sprints. Pillar 3 is about being a learning sniper, not a shotgun. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule. It basically says that 80% of your results will come from just 20% of your efforts. Top students are masters at identifying that vital 20%, those core concepts that show up on every single exam, and they master those first, while everyone else is getting lost in the weeds. And now for Pillar 4, the one that might seem totally backward at first. Most of us are taught to be afraid of mistakes, to avoid being wrong. But top students, they actually hunt them down. Why on earth would they do that? Because a mistake isn't a failure, it's just data. It's a big, bright spotlight showing you exactly where you need to improve. Now, when you start combining these 4 pillars, something pretty amazing starts to happen. You gain what from the outside looking in feels like a completely unfair advantage. When you really start using this system, the change is dramatic. Those all-night study sessions, they just become a thing of the past. Information actually sticks with you, and that horrible pre-exam panic gets replaced by a calm confidence. To your friends, it's going to look like you're barely even trying, yet your grades are soaring. That's the unfair advantage in action. And this really brings us to a simple but hard truth. Hard work isn't enough. It's just not. If your method is broken, throwing more hours at the problem actually just makes it worse. You're just digging yourself into a deeper hole. Top students win because they train their brains smarter, not just harder. So I want to leave you with one final, really powerful shift in your thinking. It all comes down to changing the single most important question you ask yourself before you even start to study. We need to totally get rid of the old question, how long should I study for? It's useless. We need to replace it with a brand new question. In this session, how am I going to force my brain to actually remember this? So from now on, the next time you sit down to learn something, ask yourself that one question. Am I just recognizing this, or am I truly retrieving it? Because that one simple shift in focus, well, it's the difference between struggling and succeeding. It literally changes everything.